Yo, alright, so I am making this very short video to talk a little bit about Admiral Swiggins' movement and the different options you have when playing this character. Unlike most characters, Admiral Swiggins has a hover, obviously. This means you can glide for a basically indefinite period of time. He can only hold the button for so long, but he can just press it again if it runs out. The only thing that is bad about this is that he cannot teleport in time to survive falling off the pit on Starstorm. Other than that, it's essentially infinite. Hovering has a lot of very practical uses that not a lot of other characters have access to. So, for example, most characters, when they take a bounce pad, they are not able to jump until about the halfway point, so we'll say about here. So usually a character would jump like that, which makes their pattern very predictable. However, hover characters, Swiggins included, can immediately hover as soon as they hit the bouncer. So you can use this to, for example, feign taking a jump pad like this, and an enemy standing right here might use their ability, like a Lone Star trying to use dynamite or something, predicting you would come up like that. But because you can hover, you can cancel it pretty easily like that. It makes him pretty slippery. Now, one downside to hovering is that typically you are not able to jump in midair. As you obviously can see, if I press the jump button, it procs the hover instead. Now, there is actually a way to get around this, and this technique is called telejumping. So basically, the idea is you are buffering a jump input out of the teleport animation. So you would hold teleport, hold jump, and then let go of teleport, like so. Now, it doesn't have to be this slow. Once you are able to do it, you can do it pretty quick. Just so you can kind of see what it looks like. And like I said, once you get a lot more comfortable with the input, it's basically one button press. You just press F and W relatively simultaneously, or teleport and jump relatively simultaneously, with teleport coming slightly before jump. One thing that's really good about telejumps is you can combine it with hovering as you please. So you have a lot of different movement options when escaping or tracking. You're able to track a very wide variety of heroes. For example, if a knot has a single jump that is maybe slightly lower than yours, you can use the hover to kind of track them better. Or if someone's taking a bounce pad and you want to track them, you can hover and wait for them to jump and then reactively telejump and track them. You can also use it to juke on jump pads very easily because you can immediately just jump this way. One thing to note about using jump pads is you can only reset your jump once on this patch. I do not know if this is this patch specific or on all patches. As you can see, I was able to jump there. Once I do it again, it will not let me telejump. So that's one. Doesn't matter how many times I try and do it. It only works once per jump pad. So you will have to touch the ground in order to reset that. One very common use for telejumping is on the Agion bouncers. You can use it to pretty easily take the bottom bouncer and then jump up to the top lane without having to stop, land on the platform, and jump again. That's probably the most common spot you would use it, but I do highly recommend you incorporate this into your regular everyday movement, as it makes them a lot more slippery. Another tech I'd like to talk about is hook jumping. Now, basically, it's the exact same concept as telejumping, except instead of buffering your jump out of teleport, you are buffering your jump out of hook. So you're going to hook and hold W at the end of it. This can be useful in a couple of different spots. It's useful on some map geometry, but obviously you are using your cooldown to do it, so it's not preferred. But in a pinch, you can do something like this, jump up to the creep area for easier rotation. Or you can do it on enemy knots as well. The one thing I kind of like to do is, especially on this map, you can take the bouncer this way, and assuming there's people in mid, you can hook and then telejump or hook jump out of mid, and it makes poke very, very safe. Now keep in mind, you are not able to use your jump to do this. So you would hit the bounce pad, and this action would reset your jump like this, and then you'd hook, and then you'd be able to jump like that. As you can see, I jumped in midair, but were there an enemy there, I would jump most likely onto this platform right here, and I would be able to get away scot-free. It's also just very useful for escapes in general. Say you're trying to escape and there's an enemy above you. You can hook upwards to stun them and simultaneously jump out of danger, something like this. And there is one last hook tech I would like to talk about. So it's kind of a bug, I'm not really sure, but basically, if you are standing on a platform and there is an enemy or terrain slightly below you, but not too far, it will teleport Swiggins back onto the platform that he's standing on. As you can see, I did not phase through the platform. I stayed up here. This is useful in a few different spots across the maps. On Serona specifically, if you stand right here or right here, you can hook an enemy that's in mid and remain on the platform, which is basically free hook damage. One thing to note though is if you do hook someone and you have Ancient Octant unlocked, then the Ancient Octant AoE will appear where you have reappeared and not on the enemy, so you'll have effectively done no damage.
So sorry, of course.
And one more thing I would like to touch on is the hover interaction with bounce pads. There is a very funny tech where you can basically phase through the bouncers. This isn't really that practical, but it is very funny. But mostly, this tech is useful just to stay on bouncers and juke as long as possible, as most enemies will be expecting you to come up like this, or maybe even juke a couple times. But basically, you can stop the momentum as much as you want until you're ready to actually go, which can make it kind of unpredictable because they don't know how long you're going to stay down there. Say if there's an enemy waiting here that wants to throw an ability, they are going to basically have to guess when you want to come up. But, like I said, you can also phase through them if you're really good at it. Don't do something dumb like that. Not recommended, but that is optional. Anyway, Swiggins has a lot of other tech that I could talk about, but I'm specifically talking about the movement right now. So, yeah, that's it. Peace out.